3 rules, if you apply, will completely transform your life and help you to raise your dominant vibration permanently without falling back onto the old patterns. Now, here is the first rule that if you live by, completely transforms your life. That is learning the power of being in your own frame. Being in your own frame is one of the most magnetic qualities you can have. When you are in your own frame of reality, what this means is that you have a vision for yourself, you have an ability within yourself to feel safe, and you are not then tuning to other people looking for safety or looking for validation. This was a game changer for me because growing up, and especially even years ago, I felt like I was such an empath. I could feel what everyone else was feeling. I could easily know what people's intentions were. And it was something that then led to me having a challenge of setting boundaries with people. And the other big weight and big burden that came from this is that I felt obligated and responsible for other people's happiness, other people's emotions. And I also developed a personality of trying to fix other people. I was trying to fix my friends, trying to fix my family. I'd find myself in relationships where I was always like losing my own frame in order to help them feel better. There was something I got out of that too. The only reason we normally do things is because there's some form of payoff there. The payoff from helping other people and tuning to other people was that I felt validated and I felt approved of. And one of the things that I had to stop doing was letting go of my frame so that I could tune to everybody else, to tune to my environment or to tune to friends and family, and instead start to tune to who the hell I want to be, tune to my own vision. And funny enough, once I started doing that, I had a completely different result in my reality. I remember when I learned something called the frame technique, which is simply a process for staring at a candle flame, feeling on the in-breath the separation between you and the flame, and then on the out-breath feeling the connection and like the connection to the peripheral. And it was a very powerful way because as I started to get into that energy, I started to release energy as I was doing the frame technique, and I was starting to feel safe inside of my own body. Like instead of going to the store and like even just like walking around, or I remember I'd used to go on hikes in Sedona and I'd like feel obligated to say hi to people when I passed them and stuff, and I could feel myself just feeling other people's energy. Instead of what I would do is I'd actually focus on the separation between me and other people. And as I put the awareness in my body, it was like people were so nice, I'd get this validation that I no longer really needed, but it was something that would happen as a reflection. Now, when it comes to raising your vibration, one of the things I notice in people a lot is that people that are normally been through a spiritual awakening may have gone through some type of childhood pain where they then didn't feel safe in their own bodies, or they had to tune to their parents to find safety. And what ended up happening from that is a feeling of always tuning to other. And even though now it's been years, it's like they're tuning to the girlfriend, the boyfriend, they're tuning to their friends. And then they start to ask the question, like, who the hell am I? What do I want? And one of the things that really helped me was shedding the people pleaser persona. And it was a persona, because as a people pleaser, you're trying to exchange being nice to people in exchange for validation and approval. And I had to be honest with myself, and I had to start realizing how fake that was. It was hard for me to look at, but I realized, wait, me being nice is me being fake. I'm literally like pretending to be a way that I'm not naturally, that's not actually real and authentic. And I need to stop doing that. And what that meant for me was start valuing vulnerability and authenticity over other people's liking me or other people's approval or validation. And when that changed, a lot changed. I'd have the courage to express myself. I had to have the ability to tap into myself to say, what the hell do I want to do? And then choose to do that. Helped with dating, helped with like setting boundaries with people. My life became so much easier when I started to be in my own frame. And remember too, if you're we get in life a direct reflection of our own energy. And if we are being the energy of the cameo in other people's movies by tuning to their frame, then we're going to be the cameo of their movies and we're not the star of our own movie. We're playing that role. But the moment we take our star role back and we begin to lead in our life and we have a vision and we have values that we live by, instead of the values that we're given or the values that we're conditioned, like approval or validation, valuing that. Just a mechanism that we used as a kid to get our needs met, of validation and approval. Instead, letting that go and saying, what the hell do I actually value? Who am I? What vision do I have for my life? And as you do that, you will see that there's a new gravity. But you can't also just make the internal change and say, okay, I'm looking to the outside. Has everything changed yet? You have to be it. And that's what I had to do. I started being authentic, started being vulnerable. I started expressing how I really felt to my friends and my family. I started setting boundaries or just doing things I wanted to do. And as I started to do that, guess what ended up happening? My life changed as a reflection. I was more attractive and I would get more validation because I didn't give a shit. I wasn't attached. And I was being myself because it's who I choose to be, instead of being myself because of what I could get. You see the difference? It's like you could be something because it's the end of itself, or you could be something because you're going to get something else. You're going to get some type of result. It's the difference between a means to an end and then having something that is an end of itself. Now, the second rule, if you live by, is this. Rule number 2 is that every moment is a new moment. Treat it as a new moment. Every moment you're a new you, which means you can let go of your old story and realize that your current life is a reflection of the stories that you've been attached to, the stories you've believed in. Now, what quantum physics shows us is that every moment is a new moment. Every moment's a new moment. Every moment's a new moment. Every moment is a new moment. The interesting thing is, because of the identity, because of the stories that we tell ourselves, we may tell ourselves the same story and then be in a new moment, but tell ourselves the same story, so we create the illusion that we are the same. So we continue to stay stuck. And the reason we're stuck is because we have attached ourselves to a story that we're not aware we can simply let go of. Your life can change like this when you understand this rule too, by the way. For so long, I believed and I was living within the confinements of having ADHD, taking Adderall for it, back when I worked that sales job at Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes. And my life was full of me going to work, taking Adderall, selling shoes, getting off, not being able to sleep or eat very well, smoking cannabis, doing things like that so that I could finally sleep and eat because I had no appetite. And then repeating the cycle and feeling completely codependent on these substances. And then eventually I learned meditation. I started observing my thoughts. I started grounding myself in grass. I started connecting more inside of my own body. And as I started to observe and I started to let go of that story, guess what happened? Within a week or two, completely off of Adderall, completely off of smoking cannabis, meditating in the grass all the time, 24 hours. I'm just kidding. I would meditate for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, and I ground myself. I reframed it and said, instead of, people say, what's wrong with you? Why do you have so much energy? I'd say, wow, I have a lot of energy. I'm going to go ground myself in grass. That's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to walk barefoot on the grass. I found other modalities because I changed my story. It can shift like that. I've used this as well, where one day, working my 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes, and then I simply decide I'm a full-time YouTuber now. I'm going to make a video every single day on YouTube because it's part of my identity. It's easy. It's easy when it's a part of your identity. There's a little initial part where you have it as a part of your identity, and then it feels like when it's a part of your identity, it's like there's this little buffer zone, but then eventually it snaps in like that. Becomes easy. And then what happens is it becomes natural for your self-image. Now, also, if you haven't calibrated your vibration yet, If you've ever gone to the website whatsmyvibration.com or I'll link up below, you can calibrate your vibration and get a meditation for getting to the next level of consciousness. That will help you really exponentialize raising your dominant vibration permanently without falling back. Just a little, and all you got to do is click whatsmyvibration.com. Now, the third rule to live by that will completely change your life, that is life-changing to the T, is simply this. The life-changing rule is that you can allow things to be natural for your new self-image. When we put things on a pedestal and we make things very important, we energetically separate ourselves from it. One thing I've had to do throughout my life is look at what is called importance. How important am I making something outside of myself? If I make it very important that this person, this woman texts me back. If I make it very important that I get this specific thing that I'm looking for, and I put it on a pedestal, then what ends up happening is I create resistance. Now, the key is detaching from outcome and letting go and really looking at, like, what do you give a shit about? Now, one thing that's changed my life is learning to give more of a shit about the things that I truly value and less of the things that don't really matter, but I thought mattered for a period of time. This kind of connects to number one too, because the way you let go of caring what other people think of you, the way you let go of giving a shit about things that really don't matter at the core, is you become aware that you were valuing something that you may no longer value. If you value other people's validation and approval, then guess what? You'll put that on a pedestal and you'll look for it and you'll hope for it. At the same time, if you value authenticity and vulnerability, like I was talking about earlier, then you'll think, how can I be more expressive? How can I share the real me? It's a very different energy. And with that as well, when you realize that you are, in a way, trusted, you can trust the universe. You're in the right place at the right time. You trust yourself. There's an energy that begins to, you begin to embody that really changes your life because of how you're showing up. So one of the things that really transformed my life is when I stopped giving a shit about things that really don't matter, and I started valuing things that really I cared about at my core. I'd value authenticity, vulnerability, connecting with other people, and then detaching from needing things outside of myself. That really helped too, needing other people's approval or validation or being afraid of rejection. The thing is you can really only reject yourself. If someone else rejects you, you do not have to internalize it. And by not internalizing it, it doesn't become a part of your identity. So allowing it to be natural from your self-image helps also with the second rule, which is that everything is always changing. And you can change your definition for who you are. You can change your identity for how you see yourself. And you can let it be natural. Like, it is natural for you to be in that ideal relationship. It's not like, oh my God, I hope that takes me back. Oh! It's like there's a sense of self-worthiness there. There's a sense of feeling inside your own body. And as you focus on those things, it changes absolutely everything about you. As you begin embodying this new you, as you begin being in your own frame, as you stop attaching to whatever everyone else wants you to do, you let it be natural for yourself and you understand that you are enough. A lot of this is always tied to worthiness as well. How worthy do I feel in this? So if you want to learn the frame technique, by the way, which is the most powerful transformative process I have ever found for transforming my whole energy, I have a free video that'll show you right here, step by step, what to do, and it will change your life. We're going to do this little activation exercise that you can come back to for the next 21 days and see how different your energy is. Now, before, the way that I was and the way I showed up in the world is that I was hyper attached to what people